Hello friends, it's Chops and welcome to another Chops vlog. We are still in Classic a little bit. I spent the past week really sort of getting everything set up for the launch of Wrath, the official launch of Wrath in 2 weeks. We're already on the pre-patch, the pre-launch or pre-expansion event is fully live. There's a bunch of zombies running around, etc., etc. And I managed to actually knuckle down and get my AGM. I got my Mark of the Chosen. And so I am, I'm not going to say pre-heirloom bis because I don't have a pod, but I am pre-heirloom ready. So I am just now working on professions to get the passive profession bonuses. Got skinning leveled for my crit, working on herbalism currently on my lunch break. To get the lifeblood heal. I finally got a hunter leveled up to 70 to help with carries, to help with other people getting their AGMs, all that stuff. And I spent the weekend getting farmed in Alterac Valley so that I could get some honor and get some PvP gear or welfare epics, if you will, just to put myself in a good position to level to 80 as quickly as possible, but also so I don't die immediately helping with AGM. So I'm going to keep picking flowers and working on herbalism in Classic while I actually talk to you guys about a big change that's coming through the beta PTR pipeline for Dragonflight in retail. This is actually the second take of this video because as I was initially recording it, a statement got released by Blizzard regarding a stat squish on the Dragonflight beta. And if you are unaware, currently, if you log into the beta, not the PTR, the beta, you have, your gear is quite a bit worse than it is on live. And I say currently, I drop these on Mondays. Patch days are Tuesdays, so maybe by the time you guys are watching this, it'll be old news. But right now, if I log on to my Vet Warrior on live, and I log on to my Vet Warrior on the beta, the one on the beta is significantly weaker. Has roughly 50 to 55% of the stats of the one on live. Yeah, but right about there. And correspondingly weaker output, weaker health pools, etc. They also went through and changed mob health pools to be a little bit higher. So I was initially pretty excited when I saw this because I really kind of hate the Path of Exile-ification or the D3 of the Diablo 3ification of gaming, where it's just one character and you run through dozens and dozens of mobs and you just press a button and everything on your screen explodes and drops loot. And there's no real, like, each individual mob isn't the challenge, or each individual mob isn't a meaningful encounter. It's only dangerous if you pull hundreds of them, and the challenge of the game is pressing your spells at the right time to kill the most mobs possible as quickly as possible to get as much loot as fast as possible. I hate that. It's awful. It's a terrible way to design games. And WoW had been kind of trending that direction for several X packs now. You know, you look at and watch like mythic races and stuff, and it's literally just pulling these massive packs of mobs and AoEing them down as quickly as possible. And of course, the only danger being pulling too many, not that any one mob is particularly difficult. And I kind of hate that. And so I was excited to see us get weaker relative to mobs in dungeons. Turns out that's not the case. Blizzard released a statement just maybe an hour ago where they said that they were intending, they were just adjusting item levels to make a smoother leveling experience from 1 to 70 in Dragonflight, and that you shouldn't, as a player, notice any difference between the strength of your character currently and the strength of the character it will be in Dragonflight. But then they said that they were expecting, for instance, a level 30 player in Shadowlands currently receives eye level 35 gear as a quest reward. They intend that eye level 35 gear to be for level 17s in Dragonflight. Alarm bells are immediately going off, because that means that a level 20 character can expect not level 35 gear, but probably level 40 gear, level 42 gear. And all of our gear currently is eye level 25, 26, 27, 28, and a few grandfathered people who have much higher eye level gear. That means that if we take that at face value and what they said is accurate and true, that means that Dragonflight is going to see a complete regear for Twinks. All of the gear you currently have is worthless, unless you have some of the aforementioned really high eye level grandfathered gear, which is maybe a handful of us. For the average level 20, this means a complete regear, and even for those of us with a few pieces of grandfathered gear, it means like a 90% regear. That sucks, man. And normally, I would be like, well, that's just the way baseball goes. Because, this is a game and things change and you've got to re-gear and stuff like that. But in the past, when we've done re-gears like this, it's always been because we're getting access to new gear. This is going to be a full re-gear that is essentially just going out and re-farming gear we already have. Like, it's not that I get access to new gear and that's exciting. It's that I have to go run the same dungeons I just ran to get the same gear I already have, just a better version of it. That sucks. That is a real kick in the teeth. Most of us twink, at least in part, to get off of that sort of like constant gear grind that you get at endgame, where you're just constantly having to get new gear. And while, we're not going to do it every patch, as they release new raid content or release a new PvP season or whatever, I'm getting tired of having to do it every X-Pack, Shadowlands was kind of a mess of having to chase after sort of like new gear finds and stuff like that because of the Squish, and I'm tired and I don't want to re-gear, especially when it's just the same gear, just a higher eye level. I have the gems, I have the enchants, I've got them stockpiled away because I was kind of like, well, there's a possibility we have to re-gear because we get new gear from Shadowlands content. That would have been fine. It would have been fun. It would have been new stuff to look at, but it really just looks like we're going to have to re-gear because they changed the eye levels, and that sucks. But, I guess we'll do it. There are a couple of silver linings, though. Us getting access to this higher eye level gear, which could be as high as like, eye level 40, eye level 42, somewhere in there. That significantly closes the gap between newer players or players who don't have grandfathered gear and the people who do have grandfathered gear. That's good. That's a bonus. Because they're also looking at changing, what eye level you get, what gear at what level. It's possible that open world farming could start to make a little bit more sense, and that open world greens with sockets and turrets for free-to-plays could become farmable. That is also, I think, a strong possibility, that there's no longer going to be the need to have like a level 24 or 25 farming character for your level 20 characters. You could probably just go out and farm it on a level 20. At least I'm kind of hoping that's the way they go, because it seemed in their statement like that was kind of what they were talking about. That was one of the things that they were discussing. Which would be good. That's good for us. Good for free to plays, because we can't currently do that now. So that's good. But man, I don't want to regear. And I think that that's the kind of change that they make where they're not intending to. It's not something that's on their radar. But this is the kind of thing that like just keeps, it's just more punches to the gut of twinking, right? Like they've already fractured the last remaining twinking bracket. The 20 to 29 bracket went from being a very healthy bracket full of 20s who were, constantly playing to a very, in less than a month, a very unhealthy bracket with long queue times, pre-mades of 29s, just sort of gleefully and maliciously killing the bracket. Not that I care. Screw 29s, but, like that is the last bracket of twinking. And then come Dragonflight, all of those people are going to have to go through and completely re-gear again. I mean, some people will, obviously, but a lot of people won't. And so that's even a larger population of people who are going to disappear. The diehard 20s who kind of just lemming into to play PvP battlegrounds without any real concern for gear. A lot of them will probably stop playing because the idea of having to go re-gear to keep up is just going to be too bothersome to them. Or, they'll just keep lemming into PvP and getting farmed like meaningless mobs in the open world. So that, I mean, it's one more punch to the gut of twinking that I think, like, they aren't intending to kill twinking. Like I said, I don't think it's on their radar, but it's going to kill twinking. Like the last vestiges of twinking are, on retail at least, are just already barely hanging on. And I think that this is kind of the death blow to that. And I mean, yeah, there's gonna be people who play 29s just as long as they get to farm as long as there's free to plays to farm, they'll keep playing. But that's not like, at that point, that's not really twinking. It's just a pathetic mirage of what used to be. Twinking is going to be on Classic, which they seem to be fully supporting, oddly enough. So, yeah, man, I think that even more so than putting 20s and vets into XP off queues, I think that this change really kind of puts retail twinking on life support come Dragonflight. And unless something changes, there's always that possibility. But I really think it puts twinking on life support. And like the last twinks in retail are going to be free to plays doing PvE hero stuff. It really does seem like it's really odd because Shadowlands was this like glorious time to be a free to play twink. It was like a new golden age. And then just within the space of a month, man, it killed it. It killed twinking almost entirely. So yeah. Anyways, that's kind of a downer to end on, isn't it? Let's end on a higher note. Everybody make fun of my party mustache. Sure, whatever. Thanks for hanging out to the end, guys. It does mean a lot to me, and I'll talk to y'all next time. Bye.